Good day everyone, welcome to ITS 101 Computer Programming 1. For this week, we will have another pre-recorded class in continuation to our discussions about C++ variables. Make sure to watch the entire video, listen, and understand the lessons attentively because after this class, there will be a learning assessment that will be through Google Form. The link will be given to you by the end of this class. And also, there will be an assignment. So the details will be uploaded to our respective Google Classrooms. My name is Juleus Publico, your instructor, and today we will discuss about working with variables. If you have any questions or comments or clarifications with the lesson, share it with the class. Comment your questions once this class is uploaded through Facebook group, or you can send your questions through our respective Facebook chat groups. Now, previously we've discussed about variables, particularly what are variables, data types, identifiers, and definition, declaration, and initialization of variables. If you haven't watched that video yet, just copy the link provided to you on the screen right now, or you can click the image on the presentation file that I will be uploading soon. For today's discussion, we will continue with variables and particularly the variable output as well as user input. Okay, so just a review. These were discussed in our previous discussion. Programming is not limited only to printing simple text on the screen. In order for us to go a little further in programming and to become able to write programs that perform useful tasks that really saves us work, we need to introduce the concept of variables. A variable is a portion of memory that stores data values that our program can manipulate. And we all know that each variable in C++ has specific type, and which determines the size and layout of the variable's memory. That's why we've introduced the data types, the range of values that can be stored within that memory, and the set of operations that can be applied to the variable. Well, the last part will be discussed to you, will be introduced to you on our future discussions about C++ programming. Okay, so again, this is just a review. This is how a variable is used in programming. So this program will compute and display the sum of 5 and 6. So we have here the variables, which is variable A equals to 5, variable B is equals to 6, and the variable result, which is equals to the sum of 5 and 6. Okay, so basically this is how a variable is written. So the expected output should be this, 11, since the sum of 5 and 6 is 11. And here are another example of C++ variables. So we have here int age is equals to 18, character middle initial equals to j, string first name is equals Ford, and int result. Okay, so these are the examples of how C++ variables were written, and the syntax is going to be data type space identifier is equals to value, or just data type space identifier. Now, of course, we've all discussed that in our previous discussions. What are data types? What are identifiers? How are we going to write the variable? So on and so forth. Now that we fully understand what are variable, its purpose, and how to write them, we knew it in our very first discussion that the purpose and the use of computer program is to perform a specific task, and variable is one of the tools that help achieve that purpose. It is now time for us to learn to make use these variables. So let's start by the displaying of the values of a variable, or in other words, it's just called variable output. So in our past discussions, we learned about the standard output stream, which is the cout, and how we use it to display simple text on the screen. However, the cout can also be used to display the value of any variables. To do so, we just have to type cout followed by the output operator, which is the two open angle brackets, and then the variable name. So for example, our variable is string, that is the data type, and then the variable name or the identifier is first name, and then the value is Bruce Banner. So To display the value of the first name, which is Bruce Banner, we just have to type cout and then the open angle bracket operator and then first name and of course our terminator semicolon. The output should be like this. Alright, so let's try to take a look on how it is used using our IDE. Okay, so we have here our IDE, the Dev C++ version 5.11. So of course we've discussed how to use this last time, so I'm pretty sure you can use it easily. Okay, so to start with, you just have to click File, New, and then Project. Okay, make sure we're under Basic, and then let's select Console Application, and then make sure that we are on the C++ project. And then this time we just have to type the project name. So for now we're just going to call it variable output, and then let me just add 3 because I've already created one and variable output and variable output 2. So let's just put variable output 3, and then let's save it in this location. Alright, now we're ready. Okay, so first is we're going to declare include our header file, which is IO stream, since we'll be using the input and output stream. Next is we are going to declare that we'll be using the standard namespace library. And lastly, let's start with our program. To do so, let's add the int main. Okay, so first is we're just going to write our variable. So in our example, we have string and then first name equals, and the value of a string must be enclosed with double quotation mark. Let's say Bruce Banner. Okay, so now that we have our variable, the only thing that we have to do next is to display. So how we're going to display that, again, we'll type cout and then the 2 open angle brackets, that is our output operator, and then the variable name. In our case, the variable name is first name, and then terminate. And then since our system is done or our program is done, we just have to tell the compiler that it is the end of our program. To do so, let's say return 0. Okay, what else do we miss? Okay, remember that we are going to use string as our data type, so we have to include the header file for string. So to do so, we just have to add in the line number 2 include string. Okay, and then save. Let me just save it right here. File name variable output 3, save. Okay, I don't think there are going to be any errors for this program, so let's try to run it now. F11. Okay, here's the output. Alright, so the cout operator, or the cout, was able to display the value of our variable, which is first name. Okay, so that is one of the use of a cout. It can also display variable value. Okay, let's proceed. Allow me to minimize this. Alright, so let's check our code line by line. So again, we have here the string first name is equals to Bruce, that is our variable, which is first name. And then this line of code, the cout, then the 2 open angle brackets, first name, which is our variable, it displays the variable first name, the value of the variable first name. Okay, we can also display multiple variable values in using cout. So we can either write the variable values in a single line, or we can separate the values of the variable in multiple lines, and that we will be using AND-L, just like how we discussed it in our previous discussion. So let's try it again. Now notice that we only have first name, so it will make sense if we're going to add the family name or the last name. Let's say Bruce, and then the last name must be Banner. Okay, right, and let's now that we are at it, let's add the age. Okay, so since age, I don't think there are any decimals for age, so that will be whole numbers, so we'll be using int as our data type. So let's say age, that is our identifier, is equals to, let's say 50. This is just an estimation. I'm not really sure how old Bruce Banner is. Okay, so now that we have three variables, we have variable first name, variable last name, and the age. Notice that since we are using integer, the value doesn't have any enclosure anymore, unlike the string. Okay, so how do we add? Let's say we are going to add, or we're going to display the first name, the last name, and the age in multiple lines. How are we going to do it? So we have first name, that is our first variable, and then if you're going to add another line, if you can remember, we will add the end L. Okay, and then of course terminate, and then we can now add another variable, or another cout, another output command. So let's say the last name, and then we'll add another line again, and then age, cout, and then age, and then terminator. Alright, so let's try to run. Let's see how it will look. So the Bruce, expectedly, the Bruce should be up top, the Banner would be on the second line, and then the age would be at the third line. Let's try. Okay, here's our output. Okay, so as expected, our output, or the output consists of the value of the first name, the last name, and the age. And since we're using the end L, all of the lines, or all of the variables, are separated in in lines, or in lists, basically. Okay, so what will happen if we are going to remove the end L? So if we're going to remove the end L, what's going to happen is these variables will be displayed in one single line without any spaces. Let's check. Okay, alright, so notice that the values of the variable, it is being displayed still, no problem. However, it is being displayed in one single line, and there are no spaces. So how are we going to add space? Okay, that will be through concatenating the output. Okay, so how do we do that? So let us close it. Okay, how are we going to concatenate, or let's say add spaces or add text to our variables? So we're just going to create one cout object. Let's say we want to say, hi, my name is Bruce Banner, I am 50 years old. So how are we going to do that? Okay, so of course we will still be using the cout and then the operator, and then if we are going to add a text first, just if you can remember the first time in our previous discussion, so we will enclose the text in double quotations. So let's say, hi, my name is. Now how are we going to add the variable? So we will close the text with double quotation, and then we will add another output operator again, which is the double quotation, or I'm sorry, double angle, open angle brackets, and then the variable. So it should say, hi, my name is variable first name, which is, it should say Bruce. Okay, and then after that we are going to add the last name. But if we're going to put the last name right away, the Bruce Banner doesn't have any space. Now how we're going to add space on it is again concatenation. So again, we will add another text enclosed with double quotation. Okay, so to add space, then we just have to put a space between two quotation marks. Alright, and then we will add another two open angle brackets so we can add the last name. Alright, so it should say, hi, my name is Bruce, and then space Banner. Now we're going to add a comma and a space, and then another text that says I am, and then the age, which is 50 years old. So since we're going to add a text again, so we'll add the two open angle brackets again, followed by double quotations, and then let's type comma space, and then I am, or I'm sorry, let's just say, instead of comma, let's put a period. I am space, and then let's add the variable age again, which is variable age. Okay, and then we will add another text. So again, we're going to concatenate, and then space years old. All right. Okay, so this is how we are going to concatenate variables with text. So we have one output command that says cout, and then our output operator, and then we start with a string, which is enclosed with 2 quotation marks, and then we added the variable name for our first name, and then we added another string. For in this case, we just added space that is enclosed with 2 quotation marks again, and then we added another variable. So to add another variable, we just have to put another open angle brackets again, and then we will add another string, which includes .im. So to add the string again, then we will going to add 2 open angle brackets, and then followed by the string, which is .im enclosed with double quotation mark. Basically, it would be the same process until the very end. So always remember that if you're going to add string or text, you just have to make sure, or you just have to use the 2 open angle brackets as your output operator, followed by double quotation mark, and then whatever it is that is inside the double quotation mark will be displayed as a string, meaning group of text or group of words. And then if you're going to add let's say variables, then you just have to add another output operator again, and this time you just have to type directly the variable. Okay, so it is going to be the very end of the sentence, so we're going to put a terminator on it, and then let's save, and then let's try to run or execute. Okay, so we have our output here. Hold on just a moment. Okay, here. Okay, so we have here, hi, my name is Bruce Banner. I am 50 years old. Okay, so notice that it was able to display the variable in a sentence properly. So that is using the cout or concatenating variables and strings. Okay, so let us continue. Okay, so this time we are going to discuss about user input. Now, what does it mean is that we are going to allow the user to put the, or declare, or let's say put the value of the variable. Anyway, to make a more useful program with the use of C++ variables, we will learn how to apply the standard input stream on variables. Of course, now that we learn about the cout, which is the output stream, it is time now for us to learn about the input stream. Okay, so this means we are going to allow the users to set values for the variable while the program is running. For C++, the stream object defined to access the standard input is cin. Okay, it will only make sense that the output stream is called cout. The input stream is going to be called cin. Okay, cin is a predefined variable that reads data from the keyboard and stores the data to the declared variable. To do so, we just have to type cin followed by the extraction operator, which is close angle brackets. Now, if you can remember previously, our output operator is an open angle brackets, which is the bracket that is, let's say, pointing to the left. The input or the extraction operator is going to be a 2 open angle brackets that is pointing to the right. Okay, after that we're going to input the variable. For example, our variable name is x, and if you're going to ask the user to put a value for x, then we're just going to put cin and then the extraction operator and then x. Alright, so let's try. So basically, in this example, we've already initialized a value for first name and last name, and then the age, and then that's the reason why that we are able to display the values that we've already we've already initialized. However, this time we are going to let the user, whoever it is that will be using your program, to declare or to set a value to that variable. To do so, of course, we're going to remove the value here for now. Right, so there will be no value for our first name and last name yet. Now, how are we going to let the viewer add the value for that variable? To do so, we just have to put cin and then close angle brackets, two of them, first name. Okay, so cin, meaning this particular line, we are going to let the user put a value for the variable first name. Okay, so for now, let's just remove all of this, and then let's say, hi, my name is Bruce Banner, and then let's just say that's just about it. Okay, so we are going to let the user display the value now. If we're going to run this, it will work just fine. Here, it will not say anything because the compiler is waiting for us to enter a value. Let's say the value should be Bruce. Okay, and then if we enter that, then it will say, hi, my name is Bruce. Okay, however, if you are going to use the program, if somebody who are going to use the program doesn't know anything about it, then the first thing that we need to do is to let the user know that they are about to input some kind of value. To do so, let's display first an instruction what to do. Okay, so let's say, please enter your first name. All right, first thing that we're going to do to make our program much usable, we're going to ask the user first to, or let's say we're going to give the instruction to the user what to do first, right? So first thing that we're going to do is to display an output saying, please enter your first name, and that's the time that the user will enter the first name. Let's try. Okay, let's try. Let's save and then run. Okay, so now it would be much clearer for the user to use the program because it will say first, please enter your first name. Now let's say Julius, and then, hi, my name is Julius. Okay, so that is the use of input. Basically, we are no longer going to initialize the value for the variable. We are now instead allow the user to declare whatever the value that they wanted to enter. That means that the output will display every time. Okay, so again, we tried it a while ago, and then we put Julius and Bruce as our output. Now this time, let's put another value here. Let's say my name is Publico. I can't really think of anything else. So hi, my name is Publico. All right, so the value, the difference now is that for us to change the value every time, we just have to type whatever it is, what is going to be the value. The difference is if we're going to put first name and then first name and then the value, then it will stay that unless we are going to change it. Okay, so that is how we can make use of variable, or how we can make use of variable to make a versatile, or let's say dynamic website or dynamic programs. The same process will apply on all the data types. So it could be either int, character, float, so on and so forth. So let's try. Let's try to make use of all the variables in performing user input. We have multiple data types now. We'll try to make use of all of it in performing user input as well as variable output. We have here the first input, which is for the first name, and let's have another one. So we're going to instruct the user what to do again, and then let's say, please enter your last name. All right, and then we are going to tell the compiler that whatever it is that the user will input, it will be saved in last name. All right, so now that we have all of our output and input commands, let's say the output should display, hi, my name is first name and last name, I am, and then the age, and my grade is. Okay, so let's tell the computer, let's tell our program that it should display on that particular format. So again, we have, hi, my name is, first name, and then we'll add space, and then we will add last name. Okay, and then we'll add period, space, and then I am, and then we will add the age, and then we will add years old, space, my grade is, space, and then we will add another variable for grade, and then I think that's it. Let's say, hi, my name is, first name, space, last name, I am, and then the age, years old, my grade is. Okay, I think that's it. So let's save and then run. Okay, all right. So we have now the output. So let's say, please enter your first name. Let's say Tony. Please enter your middle initial. Let's just say S, because I'm not really sure. And then please enter your last name, Stark. Please enter your age. Let's say he is, let's say 45 years old. And then enter the grade. Let's say 95.5. Okay, so let's see. Hi, my name is Tony Stark. I am 45 years old. My name, or my grade is 95.5. Okay, so we've successfully made use of all the variables or all of the data types in performing user input as well as variable output using C++. However, for string, there is a little problem with string when it comes to extracting values using cin. Right now, it's working very well. However, if you're going to start writing multiple lines or multiple words, things are going to behave differently. So let's remove all of it and let's start a new program. Let's say, okay, let's say our string address. And then if we're going to input value for our address, of course, that will include multiple words, right? So let's say cout, please enter your address. Then cin, if you're going to use cin for string, it will work, but there is going to be limitation. And then cout, again, let's say Ayungon. If you will enter, it will say your address is Ayungon. There's no problem with that. However, if we start writing multiple words using string and then using cin, things are going to behave differently. So let's see. Let's try. Now, if we'll say Ayungon, Negros, Oriental, if we're going to press enter, it will only display Ayungon. What happened to Negros Oriental? The problem is the cin can only display one single word, basically, because in cin, empty spaces, let's say space or line breaks, we'll consider as a terminator. So if we're going to put multiple words, basically the two words will be separated with a space. Now the space will be determined as a terminator for cin. So how are we going to tell the compiler that we are about to store multiple words in our string? So we will be using another object, and that will be called getLine. Okay, instead we'll be using getLine and then space, or I'm sorry, getLine and then open and close parentheses, and then cin, comma, and then the variable names. Okay, the get line allows multiple words as a string value. Okay, so let's try. So instead of just cin, we will use the get line, and then open and close parentheses, cin, and then comma, and then the variable name, which is in our case address, and then of course the terminator. All right, so let's try it again. Let's see if there are any difference now compared to just regular cin. Okay, so again, let's try. Okay, Ayungun, Negros, Oriental. Okay, so this time it is now capable of extracting or input and displaying the entire sentence or the entire phrase of value. So that is the difference between the cin and getLine. So basically, the cin will work perfectly. Will work perfectly in all of the data types except for one, which is the string. Now it will work just the same with string. However, it can only enter, it can only input one single word. Again, remember that using cin in string, the cin will determine spaces as a terminator. So to avoid that, we'll be using the get line instead. Alright? Alright, so this is what we did a while ago. This is a review. Combine text and variables to display a more detailed output. To do so, add double quotation where you will write the text, then use the output extractor or the output operator to separate the text and the variables. Okay, you might want to take a screenshot on that so that you can remember it next time. So that is how we're going to make use of variables in making more useful and dynamic programs. So for the link of your assessment, I'll be sending it to you through our Facebook chat groups as well as on our Facebook groups as well as the assignment. Okay, so if you have any questions or concern, please let it be known. Again, you may send your questions to our respective chat groups or comment your questions down to our Facebook post. And then I will also be uploading the presentation file, the copy of this presentation file for you to have a review. So that will be all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson and you learned something from it. And then for the next topic, we are going to make use of the C++ operators. This is where we can make mathematical operations and so on and so forth. Okay, so thank you so much for making this far of the video. If you have any questions or concern, just let it be known. Please keep safe and God bless us all. Bye.